We'll see how we can do the cloud assessment. So pega cloud readiness assessment tool. So we'll understand about this tool and where we can use this. Okay, so before going to detail, let's understand what is the use case, okay, when you can leverage this tool. Okay, so let's take an example that you are working as a lead in your team, and then your manager, client manager, asked that, okay, we are planning to move our applications to cloud. Okay, it could be a pega cloud or any cloud. Okay, yes, with the pega cloud you need to be little more strict, but with other cloud, other public cloud like Azure or AWS, you can have some flexibility with something. So we'll talk about in detail. Okay, so in what kind of a situation your client manager can ask, okay, that we are planning to move to cloud. Okay, so there can multiple situations. The first situation is that let's say your application is 7.x, okay, or 8.2 or 8.3, and then you want to upgrade it to the latest version, and then plan is that, okay, once that upgrade is done and everything is done, we want to move it to cloud. Okay, so that is one scenario. The second scenario is that, yes, you want to continue the fresh development in on-premise environment, and then later you are planning to move it to cloud. Okay, the third scenario is, okay, your application is already there in productions, okay, and then your client or customer, okay, wants to move it to cloud. Okay, but before to move it to cloud, we need to perform few things. Okay, to see the compatibility, okay, to see the readiness that our application, okay, whatever the code base we have, whatever the integrations we have, okay, the way we are interacting with the other system, okay, those are compatible with the cloud or not. Okay, so for that, what pega has done, pega has given a assessment tool. Okay, so if you, I'll attach this link, okay, to in the comment section of video. So what this does is the pega cloud readiness tool. So what we have to do, we have to install this. So we can download and install that. So it has a two component. One is that the application component, so you can see that here, applications readiness and then database readiness. Okay, so if I talk on a very high level for a given application, it aims at identifying the usage of incompatible rules such as Connect-SQL, functions, alias, data tables, authentication, service rule, connectors, services, system information, JVM, etc. Okay, and then also it finds few more details like if you are using Bakes, IAC, okay, and then what is our rule set stack, and also strategic applications. So strategic applications means framework, if you are using any framework. So basically, if we like, it has a two component, application and then database. Okay, so once you run that, like, so from this one it has a once we download, okay, let me show you what all things will get it once we download it. So let's quickly see that. Okay, so once we download it, we'll get this component. Okay, so we have a readiness tool for 7.x, and then we have for 8.x as well. So based on your version, you can install this tool. And then also we have the database readiness tool. So database readiness, we need to execute from our database server, okay, by passing some connections details, connections properties. So we are not going to see that today. Okay, mostly we'll be talking about the applications readiness. Okay, and then also in this package you'll get the user guide. So you need to install one of them based on your version. Okay, so after installing, we can extract the report. Okay, and if you, as here we can see that what details it will give. So it will give you the rule details. Okay, okay, like of this, if you're using Connect-SQL, functions, alias, data tables, and these things. So let's see how that report looks. Okay, and how we can generate that. Okay, so first what we have to do, we have to install that package, which I have already done it. Okay, and after installing that package, what we have to do, so basically what we can do is, let me show you, let me install again. So we have to go to distributions and then import, and we can import that package application. So I'm in version 8.x, so I'll go ahead and install that 8.x version. So as I've already installed, so it's just saying just override it. Okay, so nothing to import. Now what we have to do, okay, so that if you read that cloud readiness document, it is saying that, okay, what you need to do after installing, you need to go and add this rule set gap analysis on top of your application. So we will also do the same thing. So we'll take this rule set and add it on top of our application stack. Okay, then what's next? Then pega is giving out of the box, like not out of the box, in this rule set the pega is giving one activity which they want us to run to get that application's assessment. So let me run that. Okay, so this is activity which we need to run. So after adding the rule set, you can just go to records at technical activity, and then you can search this activity, so you'll find that. What we have to do, then we have to simply execute this one. It is asking a parameter schema name. Okay, so you can pass the schema name based on your database, but mostly if you're using pega, then we have to pass like a customer data. If you're in a line with the pega, then we need to pass to a schema customer data and pega data. So I'll just pass that to customer data, and then we have pega data. So I'll just run this one, and then what it will do, it will give us a excel file, okay, or the csv file. I think it will be excel file. In that one we'll see the report. So we have a different tab, so we'll go through each tab. Okay, so you can see that the file got renamed with our application and then version. So our application is leave app, and then version is 010101. Okay, so let's open this one. So let me open this one from download. Okay, so let's go quickly one by one. Okay, each tab. So here application summary is saying, so the first is the application's name. So let's say we are using leave application, leave app. Our applications and leave app is built on theme cosmos, and then theme cosmos is built on pega rule. So let's say if we are using any strategic applications like framework, so that will come in this sections. Okay, and then also the entire applications rule set stack will also come here. Okay, so our application stack is very limited. Like we have a very basic applications, leave app and leave app IMT, and then we have organizations rule set. And then here it's telling, okay, that integrations rule types, like what kind of integrations we are using and how many integrations we have. Okay, so this is one of the critical part. Okay, so here just giving us the count, but detail will be there here. Okay, so in this one, in our applications we don't have much details, but in your real-time applications you'll get tons of rule in this section, connector. Okay, so I'll come back to this tab again. Okay, that here if you see, just pega is giving the rule details. So let's say here rule type, rule name, class name, rule set, and rule set version. But with this one you'll not able to understand that why. Like let's say you are running, okay, and you have a tons of REST services or SOAP services. Okay, then you'll not be able to understand that what I have to do. Okay, so pega is not giving that much detail, but we will talk. Okay, that after getting this list, what we can do, how we can analyze. Okay, because this assessment will not only help you to determine that how much we have, like this assessment will basically determine how much work you have to do before you move to cloud. Okay, so the first thing to determine that your application is compatible on a day one or not. Okay, if not, then how much work you have to do to make it compliant. Okay, so that you can go to pega cloud or to any other cloud. So this sheet will help you to do the sizing. Okay, but it will just give the rule details. Okay, so I'll explain that what you have to see more. Okay, once you get the rule details. So the next step is Connect-SQL. Okay, so in this also Connect-SQL details will come. Okay, and then next step is data tables. So if you see in 7.x, or if your applications was developed in 6.x, we used to have a data tables. Now pega have moved to data types. Okay, so if you have like 10 data types, 10 data tables, that will also come in the list. Okay, so we have to convert that also to data types. Okay, and then the system informations it will give. Okay, what kind of a server, how much memory you are using, so system details. And then other gaps. Okay, in other gaps if you are filling, so this also like compliance score. Okay, so here it's not coming in our applications, but will come automatically, or you can fill manually also. Let's say you are running in dev, and in dev you have multiple things like you install this tool. Okay, and this tool will reduce your compliance score because it has a lot of activity. So what you can do, you can update this compliance score from your QA environment or from other system. And then you, if you're using Bix, then you need to select yes, and then ISE, and then Connect-SQL for reverse. So those kind of things you need to do. And then the last one is to be filled manually. So few details are there here, like certificate, JVM argument, and few other things. Okay, So this is the, like, once you generate, like, run this activity, okay, gap analysis, you'll get the sheet, okay, and here the sheet is blank, but in your case, if you're running for your applications, it will be filled of lot of data. Now let's understand, okay, that once you get that list, what you have to do. Because let's say if you are not familiar or not aware, okay, you'll just get that list, okay, so then you need to reach out to pega, okay, that what I have to do a changes, okay, fine, I got the rule, okay, now what I can do. So I'll help here, okay. So what you have to do, so let's say you are using tons of services in your application, so these points will help you, okay. So the first thing you need to see that whatever the services are you using, those are deprecated or not, okay. So let's say if you're using soap services, rest services, so these are services is fine, okay, it will work in cloud. But let's say you are using jms mdb listener or something, okay, because mdb listener supports in ear, okay, but now we are moving to cloud, okay. So in cloud, like, we are using pega uses postgresql, and then for server tomcat, okay. So tomcat doesn't support those kind of a services like mbdb listener or those kind of a things, okay. So that's where you need to see in your list that are you using any jms mdb listener, okay. If you're using mdb listener, then what you need to do, you need to discuss with the pega assessment team, you need to discuss internally, okay, that what we can do, okay. Either we can create a new services, okay, with the rest or soap or something else. So there you need to do some work, okay. So based on this like kind of things, you can size that how much work is required to make that service compatible with the cloud version, okay. So there are like many services, okay. I just gave an example of JMS MDB listener. The second thing is security, okay. So let's say if we are in VAS, okay, in our on-premise server, okay, or in any other server, WebSphere, most of the time what we do, we apply all certificate details at the server level layer, okay. So we install the certificate, okay, and other things to connect with other system, okay. But here in cloud, okay, we use that will not work, okay. So what we have to do, we have to apply it a rule layer, okay. So if you go to each rule in pega nowadays, okay, we have an options to give the certificate details, okay. So we can give this security profile. Let's see that, okay. Let me see if we have any. So we can give the security details inside that rule only. Okay, so let connect rest, connect soap. Let's see if you have any connect soap. Okay, so we have tons of connect soap. So I'll just show you one example, okay, that you have to give at a rule layer, because now pega is saying you install the certificate, okay, with the normal like we upload the package and then you use the certificate, okay. You don't have to be like dependent on the server, because in clouds world, like, we cannot install on server. So if you see here, we can give our security profile. In that security profile, we can apply the certificate, okay. So if I open here, we can give the certificate details here. So this is one of the important change. So here we can give our certificate details, okay, and also we can enable or enable WS security, okay. So that is how we can give it a rule layer, okay. But in a on-premise world, it was working like as of now, let's say it's working fine, okay, if you have just installed the server. But if you're moving to cloud, it's recommended that your security details should be there at a rule layer. So basically all things within the pega, we don't have to be dependent on server. So let's say you are today moving to pega cloud, tomorrow you want to move to Azure or AWS, okay, you don't have to make any changes at the server layer much, and also your code is compatible because you have developed at a rule layer, okay. And then also TLS version is there, like what kind of a TLS version you're using, so that kind of things you need to review. So this is for the connector, okay. What about services, okay. So if let's say if you're developing any services, exposing any services, we use sometimes within organizations, what we do, we don't use services at all. I have seen in many places people just say that, okay, no authentications required. So I'll show you what I'm talking. So if I open any package, service package, so here I've seen that in many places within organizations, okay, if you're using these services, we just select no authorization, okay, and then internally we hardcode some operator. So here you can see that requires authentications, it has like unchecked, okay. So basically when someone is calling, pega won't authenticate, and then I've seen in the request only like people will pass the operator ID, and based on that either they'll set the context or they'll use it, or most of the time they won't need any authorization. Okay, but if you're going to cloud world, these are the mandatory things. Okay, because within organizations it's all fine because your network is secure, but if you're going outside your organizations, you need to have this like required authentications check, and you need to develop some authentications mechanism. Okay, so there are like few options. Basics, definitely you cannot go, I mean you can go also, it will all depend. Okay, but most of the time when we like develop any applications for enterprise, we go with either like we can go you can go with the customer, you can go with what. Okay, so it will all depend on you, but basically what I'm trying to say is that you need to review that as well, because most of the time if you are within a on premise, okay, it will be like unauthenticated, so that also you need to take care. Okay, the next is the database. Okay, so in database also, if your applications is developed in older version, okay, many times like for a complex to meet complex business scenario, people have created Connect-SQL rule, okay, to call RDP, or they have created views or a stored procedure. So those things also we need to review. Okay, because few of the things will not work in cloud. So this is one of the important points. So after generating the report, we will get the Connect-SQL. Okay, so we'll get the Connect-SQL details, and the stored procedure or view details you will get it after running that database readiness. Okay, which we are not which will not try today. Okay, because we don't have database access, but you can do this one, the database readiness utility aims to identify custom data objects. I was saying that procedures, views, triggers, sequences, functions, etc. The custom data objects are not supported moving to new Pega Cloud services. The same I was talking. This tool also helps to identify the list of tables which doesn't have a primary key. It always best practices to have a primary key for the table, and DMS expects that primary key move to the blob data. So few of the things will get it from the database readiness as well, so you can run and get that report. But as I was saying that in database side also you need to do a good amount of work. Okay, in your assessment. Okay, so like you need to check this kind of roles, okay, to see if your application is compatible or not. Now the next one is the file system. So this is also very much important. So let's say if you are using listener. Okay, file listener. Okay, so file listener. So if you're using a file listener, or even if you're using email listener, so in case of cloud you need to update that email details. Okay, now like let's say if you're going to Outlook 365, so maybe you need to work you need to have some work there as well. And then if you're using any shared path. Okay, and then for file listener, or you are using connect file method. Okay, so these things will also not work in cloud. Okay, because your like applications will sit outside, okay, your organization, so you cannot access this. Okay, you can access, maybe there is some way, but Pega won't support this. Okay, so in that case we have to use some repository. Okay, so it can be S3 or it can be Nexus. It all depends on okay how you like how you're designing your system, but definitely the NAS and the share folder things will not work. Okay, so if you see these things, these are the major chunks of the part which will tell you that okay, your application is compatible or not. Okay, and if your applications was developed initially in 6.x or 7.x, you'll find issue with these all points. Okay, be it's a services, be it's a security, be it's a database, or be it's a file system. Okay, because I've seen most of the places people are using NAS or some shared folder to write some data, okay, or to use like a file list, like to read the file or something. Okay, so some processing they are using with the NAS, but these things will not work. Okay, so if you're upgrading, okay, or if you're migrating, you need to take care before this. Okay, so once you'll get this, whatever the point I explained you, okay, after getting this rule list, what you can do based on the explanation which I gave you, based on that you can size your work. Okay, that let's say Pega gave here, okay, 10 connectors. Okay, in 10 connectors you have like to connect file, to JMS MDB listener, and to REST. Okay, so what you have to do with the to REST, you need to just verify the authentications, that, and then for the other MDB listener and then connect file, you need to find out some alternative solutions. Okay, so after getting this list, you need to assess based on like what I told. Okay, and then you can size it and present to your customer. Okay, that this is what, and this how much this much effort can take to move to cloud. Okay, and then you can discuss with your project manager and prepare the plan. Okay, that how we can start, and then slowly you need to fix that, remediate one by one issue. Okay, it can take time, so it all depends on your organizations and your project management and your team. Okay, so the next thing is that let's say that I'm talking about that these are the things which you can do if your application is old. Okay, but what if you are doing a fresh application? Okay, so if you're working on a fresh applications, so even though if you're working on an on-premise environment, you should always take care of these things, so that in future, because now future is cloud, everyone is going to cloud. Okay, so as a lead, your responsibility that whatever you're doing, even though your application is developed in on-premise server, you should try to avoid these things. Like you should have the services with authentications check, you should have a certificate and TLS version, everything at a rule layer. You should avoid database views or stored complex database kind of a things like stored procedure views or Connect-SQL. And also you should avoid using this file system like NAS or other things. Okay, so this is very much important, because what I'm seeing, even though people are working in 8.x, they're not following all those things. Okay, they're thinking, okay, let it work, if it is working fine, no issues. But no, if you keep in mind, then in future it will be very helpful. Okay, because if you want to move it to, let's say you are working on 8.5 or 8.6, and suddenly you want to upgrade also. Okay, not leave about that moving to cloud. If you want to upgrade also, these points will help. Okay, if you have already taken care in your development. Okay, so this is it for today. I hope the this assessment cloud assessment things will help you, and you'll be able to do it, because this is like I'm seeing everywhere. Okay, everywhere people are using this kind of a tool. Okay, to analyze. Okay, because the requirement is coming. Okay, that I want to move it to cloud. So definitely it will help you. I'll attach this link in my video. Okay, and then you can, at least even if you're not going, okay, as a learning purpose, you can just install this tool. Okay, and then see how the report is generating. But yeah, after report generation, as I explained, pega is not giving much details, so you need to like watch my video and understand that what I have explained. Okay, for against each rule. Okay, so against each rule you need to take care, you need to do few things. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much. Have a good day.